The Chinese leader has called for the creation of a new Asian security structure with the participation of Iran and Russia. President Xi Jinping, who was speaking at an Asian Regional Security Forum in Shanghai, said the regional countries need to innovate their security cooperation and establish a new security cooperation architecture there. He added that the Conference on Interaction and Confidence-Building Measures in Asia should also create a security response center to deal with emergencies. The Chinese president also issued a veiled warning to the U.S. against building up a military alliance in Asia. He said that beefing up an entrenched or military alliance aimed at a third party does not help common security. His comments come amid China's tensions with the U.S. over Beijing's territorial disputes with Japan, the Philippines, and Vietnam. William Jones from the Executive Intelligence Review joins us from Washington to tell us about what he thinks of this announcement. Well, Bill Jones, point blank, the Chinese leader, the creation of a new Asian security structure with the participation of Iran and Russia is what he has stated. What does this mean exactly?
Well, this is an extremely important new development in the entire Asia-Pacific region. The U.S. has, of course, been in the so-called pivot or rebalancing, where they're trying to revamp and strengthen their traditional alliances from the old Cold War era. And the view of China, the view of Russia, and I think the view of most of the other countries is that we're in a new geometry now. The Cold War is over. We should have a structure in which all nations feel secure and can cooperate. And it's clear that China would like to use the KICA mechanism, which has been kind of rather low-key but in operation since 1992, as the basis for creating broader security arrangements in which all the countries in the region are involved. So I think coming on the aftermath of very extensive agreements between Russia and China, this brings this up to a different level with most of the other countries of Asia being directly involved in it. So I think it's extremely important. I would call it a strategic development.
Well, if you want to take a look at all three countries, really, cumulatively, they have so many things in common when it comes to their policies in general in certain areas being against how the U.S. operates itself around the world. I mean, we could talk about Iran, we could talk about Russia and China in specific areas. Each obviously have differences with the U.S. How worried should the U.S. be?
Well, obviously, the U.S. is not formally excluded, but there is a different outlook that these nations are indicating they would like to have with regard to the Asia Pacific. That is, no longer the red lines being drawn between your friends or your allies and those who are not your allies, as the U.S. has tended to do, but one which would incorporate all of the nations, even with different political systems, with different views of the economy, in some kind of a collaborative effort. Now, if the United States would be in agreement with that general outlook, I don't see why they could not as well play a positive role in this development. But given the directionality of their policies vis-a-vis China, vis-a-vis Russia, the alliance building in both Europe, or alliance strengthening, I would say, in both Europe and the Asia Pacific, indicates that they're still thinking in the old terms, and this could be problematic for them unless they make a change.
Yeah, I wish we could talk about this more. Unfortunately, you just don't have the time. But thank you so much for that. William Jones from the Executive Intelligence Review talking to us there from Washington.